She had a new name, a new dress, and a brand new life waiting for her somewhere past the Missouri River. She had told herself, told everyone, that the woman she used to be was gone, buried in Philadelphia with the lies, the shame, and the man who had stolen everything from her. But the West has a way of finding what you try to hide, and so did he. This is the story of Clara Whitfield, the woman who ran, and Daniel Holt, the rancher who couldn't let her keep running from herself. The town of Redstone, Colorado, 1,882. Population 341 or so, the sign said. Clara Whitfield made it 342 when she stepped off the afternoon stage, her leather trunk hitting the dust before she did. She had answered an advertisement in the Philadelphia Gazette 3 months prior, a position bookkeeper for the Redstone land office. The pay was modest, the distance enormous. That was exactly what Clara needed. Back east, she had been the wife of Mr. Arthur Whitfield, financier, socialite, and, as it turned out, a fraud. When the courts came for his accounts, they came for her name too. She had signed documents she hadn't read, trusted a man she should have questioned, and when Arthur vanished with his mistress and what remained of the money, Clara was left holding the ruin. She was acquitted. The court believed her innocence, society did not, so she left. She left the whispers and the stares and the closed doors. She left her mother's sympathy and her sister's pity. She left the life she had spent 28 years building, and she got on a westbound train with $40, a good coat, and a name she was no longer sure she deserved. Redstone was not what she expected. It was smaller, louder, and smelled strongly of horses. The main street was unpaved. A dog slept in front of the general store. 3 men in dusty hats watched her from the saloon porch without any attempt at subtlety. She straightened her spine and walked toward the land office. That was where she met Daniel Holt. He was leaning against the doorframe when she arrived, tall, unhurried, with a jaw that looked like it had been carved from the same sandstone as the canyon walls behind him. He wore no badge, no gun visible, just a rancher's worn shirt, a week's worth of beard, and the quiet confidence of a man who had never needed to announce himself in any room. "You must be the new bookkeeper," he said. "I must be," she replied. He held the door open. She walked through. Neither of them said another word for 20 minutes, and somehow that was already the most honest conversation Clara had had in 2 years. Daniel Holt, she would learn, was the largest landowner in the county. He used the land office once a week to review filings, dispute boundaries, and occasionally argue with the clerk, Mr. Sims, over measurements that never seemed to come out the same way twice. He was not a man given to unnecessary words. He said what he meant, and he meant what he said, and in Clara's experience, that alone made him rarer than silver. The first weeks passed quietly. Clara was good at her work, meticulous, organized, and fast with numbers in a way that made old Mr. Sims look at her with open admiration. She found a room above the milliner's shop. She learned which bakery opened earliest. She learned to nod at people she passed without inviting conversation. She also learned that Daniel Holt came to town every Thursday, and that on Thursdays he always found some reason to stop by the land office twice. She told herself it was about the land surveys. She was almost convincing. One afternoon, 3 weeks after her arrival, Daniel sat across from her desk reviewing a deed while she updated the boundary ledger. The office was empty. Rain pattered softly against the window. "You write like someone who's been keeping records for years," he said without looking up. "I have been," she said. "For who?" She paused only a half second. "A firm. Back east." He looked up then, and his eyes dark, steady stayed on her a moment longer than necessary. Not suspicious, just attentive. Like a man who had learned that the most important things in a conversation were what wasn't said. "All right," he said, and went back to the deed. That night, Clara sat at her window above the milliner's shop and told herself she was safe here. that no one in Redstone read the Philadelphia papers, that Arthur Whitfield and everything he had destroyed were too far away to touch her. She was wrong on the first count. 6 weeks into her new life, a man named Garrett Peel arrived in Redstone. He was a journalist, or said he was traveling through the territory, writing features on frontier towns. He had sharp eyes and a sharper memory, and he had read the Philadelphia papers. Clara saw him first at the saloon, then at the mercantile, then with a cold drop in her stomach at the door of the land office. He introduced himself pleasantly, asked about the town records, asked about her by name, her real name, not the shortened version she had been using. Clara Whitfield, he said, of the Philadelphia Whitfields. She kept her face perfectly still. I don't know what you mean. He smiled and left. But Clara knew he would be back. Men like Garrett Peel always came back. That Thursday, Daniel came to the office and found her at her desk, staring at the ledger without seeing it. He set down his papers and pulled up a chair without being invited. Something's wrong, he said. I'm fine. That's not what I asked. She looked at him. The rain had come back. It seemed to always come when he was in the room. She had the sudden, terrifying urge to tell him everything. The wedding, Arthur, the trial, the shame, all of it. Instead, she said, there's a man in town who knows who I used to be. Daniel was quiet for a moment. And who did you use to be? Someone I've been trying to leave behind. He nodded slowly. He didn't press. He didn't pity. He just said, all right, do you need help with whatever's coming? And Clara realized that in all her years among polished Eastern society, no one had ever simply asked her that. Garrett Peel made his move 4 days later. He visited the town's most active gossip, Mrs. Aldridge, who ran the post office with the efficiency of a telegraph station, and casually mentioned what he knew about the new bookkeeper. By sundown, the story had made 3 full loops around Redstone. Clara arrived at the land office the next morning to find Mr. Sims waiting outside, his expression careful and apologetic. The town council, he began. I understand, she said. She did. She had been through this before. She walked back to her room above the milliner's shop and began folding her clothes with the practiced calm of a woman who had learned to pack quickly. She had enough for a ticket to Denver. Maybe Denver would hold longer. The knock came an hour later. It was Daniel. He stood in the doorway, hat in hand, looking at her trunk with an expression she couldn't quite name, not quite anger, not quite sorrow. Something in between. I heard what he told people, Daniel said. I also read the court record. I had my lawyer wire Philadelphia this morning. Clara stared at him. You were acquitted? Fully? The judge's statement was clear. Your husband deceived you the same as he deceived everyone else. He paused. The council doesn't know what they're talking about. It doesn't matter, she said quietly. Reputation travels faster than court documents. It matters to me. He said it simply. No performance in it. Just the plain fact of the thing. And I happen to own half the buildings this town uses for council meetings. They'll hear from me. Daniel, I'm not asking you to stay for me, he said. I'm asking you to stop running from something that was never your fault. That's different. Clara set down the dress she was folding. She looked at the trunk, then at the window, then at this quiet, steady man who had read court documents on her behalf before the sun was fully up. I don't know how to stay, she admitted. I haven't in a very long time. I know, he said, but Redstone's a good place to learn. Daniel Holt stood before the town council the following morning and laid out the facts with the same unhurried precision he used on land surveys. He read from the court document his lawyer had wired. He spoke about Clara's record at the land office. He spoke about the kind of woman it took to start over completely and what kind of town turned its back on someone for surviving. Garrett Peel left Redstone on the afternoon stage. No one saw him off. Clara was reinstated at the land office by week's end. Mr. Sims gave her a modest raise and looked deeply relieved. She and Daniel did not speak of what had passed between them for 2 full weeks. It was the kind of silence that isn't empty, the kind that has weight and warmth and something building slowly underneath it. On a Thursday evening in late autumn, as Clara was locking up the office and Daniel was pretending he hadn't come by just to walk her home, he said quietly, with his eyes on the last strip of orange light over the canyon ridge, "I'd like to show you the ranch sometime, if you're interested." Clara looked at him. The west stretched out golden and enormous behind him. She thought of Philadelphia, of closed doors and whispered names, and the woman she had been so desperate to bury. She was glad, suddenly, that he had dug her up instead. "I'd like that," she said. And for the first time and longer than she could remember, she meant it not as an escape, not as a fresh start, but as something that was simply and entirely hers. Clara Whitfield had come west to bury her past. She hadn't expected someone to find it and to hand it back to her, gently, like something worth keeping after all. If this story moved you, share it with someone who believes in second chances. New stories drop every week here on the Western Chronicle, where the frontier is wide and the heart is wider. Subscribe and ring the bell. Your next story is already waiting.